Talk to me about, have you ever been afraid or hesitant to ask people hard questions?
Oh, I think terrified, but
Hmm.
have always seen it as a challenge. So there's something, as I look at kind of the themes over life that has been fun about seeing a big vision. So in your case, the vision is this movie that really would be unique among high school students, and the
Yeah.
excitement that that vision creates. And once you see something like that, it's exciting to share it. And so that translates easily into sales or selling, which ended up being a form of the career I have. But in any way, whether it's marketing or selling for a movie or doing something else, being able to share that with people and then asking them to do something in exchange, I have that's always been kind of fun for me. It's always been a challenge. And then it's always, how far can we take this, right? If New Skin's willing to let you in to use their editing bay, then do they want placement in it? Are they willing to pay, to have their logo in there? And then, at the point they're willing to pay and the logo's in there, then can you upgrade the equipment or get more rental time on the equipment? Or, can you actually have people involved that you could pay? And then what can you do, right? It's the art of what could be possible if, you know,
And that's a
vision is a
skill you
big part of
still
that.
use now, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's no question. I've enjoyed that throughout my professional career up to today. Yes.
Yeah, you make things happen. You create things that sometimes didn't exist previously, or you're able to negotiate so that bigger and better things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I can also align with people that have big visions and get
Mm.
excited and be taken in by their vision and say, hey, look, together we can actually make this even better, and improve on it. So, yes. Yeah.
That's fascinating, and we're going to share a story in just a little bit about how I roped you into another vision a little later. But
Awesome.
I want to pause here for a second. Talk to me about your home life at this time, because I was kind of in a place where I saw what was going on, and if I remember early on, there was some turmoil. Are you okay with talking
Yeah.
about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
absolutely. So, it's interesting as a kid, as a teenager, life is so simple. You see things very black and white in terms of, hey, that's okay, that's not okay, that's right, that's wrong. And as a parent, you have a little more empathy for how difficult being a parent truly is. And
Mm.
parenting is not easy. But I still remember to this day, being in high school and parents taking on a philosophy or a different approach to parenting that, by my measure today is insane, right? And they decided, hey, we're going to put some separation between us for a period of time, and you're going to kind of be out on your own trying to figure your own world out. And
At what age did that happen?
uh, you know what? That's a great question.
It
Uh,
seemed like it was around 17, wasn't it?
yeah, it was. I think it was junior in high school, wasn't it? I think it was junior in high
Yeah.
school. So
So they essentially kicked you out of the house. That's what we're talking
100%.
about.
Yeah.
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 And
Yep.
so where did you go when that happened? You
It's
don't have a
crazy.
home.
Yeah.
Your parents were supporting you, and now gone.
Yeah, it's crazy. I still remember to this day, those are some formidable memories, walking
Mm.
kind of down the street wondering that myself. I had some good friends and good people around me where I was able to stay for periods of time and relied on them. But you can't do that for very long. And I remember a few hotel nights, but without an income, that becomes a little bit of a challenge. And it's interesting because it was during that time period where I got connected with the auto industry. I remember walking up and down State Street in Orem, 1635 South State, and
Hmm.
walking past an Isuzu dealership there saying, hey, you know, I could do that, right? I could do something for them that would be beneficial. And, at that point, I think the world was in a recession. As high school kids, you don't really understand the economic state of things, but things weren't as good as they are today, certainly. And I went and met a man by the name of Matt Melville, who I didn't know up to that time, but it would later become evident there were a lot of connections even to kids around me in high school at that time, and was able to tell him, hey, I'd make a great guy washing cars. I'd washed airplanes at the airport up to that point, and he gave me a job. Actually, two things came out of that. He gave me a job, and he connected me up with someone who got me an orange Chevrolet Chevette that had been hit very hard in the corner.
Nice.
And so in one swing, I was able to get, a job, and I was able to get transportation, which, at that age was super crucial. So,
Yeah. And that started your beginnings with the auto industry that's continued up to today.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now,
And yeah.
oh, my recollection was so you worked there for a while. What, you were washing cars, detailing cars, and then later you started doing sales. Is that how that
Yeah, so
progressed?
it was interesting, washing cars, and I was not particularly good at it, um, because I did not have patience for some of the real super details. So,
Hmm.
there would be smog or kind of a fog or a glaze over the inside of the windows in the hot summer, something called dash sweat, and you would have to polish the inside of the window really heavily to be able to remove that. And then, I'd wash cars for delivery and sweep a lot. I mean, sweeping an asphalt lot of all the gravel just to me was tedious. But I also had, so that was kind of a 40-hour a week gig. And then at nights, I would go do close up at a grocery store, Allen's grocery store, which I think was 1600 North or 2000 North in Orem, Utah. So I would work both of those jobs, and it was crazy, Dave. I needed those to be able to have the income to pay for an apartment and fund the car and do those other things. But I remember the start time and the stop time for each one of those overlapped a little bit. So I would leave early a little bit for one and then show up late for the next. And you know, as I recall, that first fall coming into the first semester of college, I obviously couldn't have two. I could only have one, and I'd been a lot guy for a long time. And it was interesting that summer, the road in front of the car dealership was being dug up. There was construction, and I would be out sweeping the lot and scrubbing the windows, and customers would come onto the lot and they would have questions about the cars. How much
Hmm.
does this car cost? Do you have a car that's like this? Hey, tell me about these vehicles. I've read reviews about troopers, rolling over in Consumer Reports. Tell me a little bit about it. And I didn't know anything about cars. I wasn't particularly interested in cars at that time, but I love talking to people. And so as the salespeople wouldn't show up for work because the road was closed and nobody could come onto the lot, I had the opportunity of talking to people as I was out doing my other job and asking questions and kind of learning a little bit about how to talk to people about cars. And I remember as months went on that first year, starting to get deals where I would split commissions with the salespeople. I would bring them a customer that had been completely closed. They knew exactly what they wanted to buy, and the salesperson would sell it, and then we would split it. They'd pay me cash kind of under the table, I guess, which I don't know if
Oh,
that's okay or not, but that's what we did. And then coming into the first semester of college, they said, "Hey, we're not ready to put you in sales." And I said, "Well, I'm not going to stay as a lot guy. I've got to make better money in college, and I'm not interested in continuing on this." So they had a tough choice, Dave, to make in that moment.
if you liked this video and want to listen to the full episode, go to your favorite podcast app and subscribe to the Dave Crenshaw Success Project. You can also find all the full episodes at SuccessProject.Show.